Nice to see you again today for this next episode in April. As some of you know, I'm actually planning to leave Charlottesville pretty soon and hit the road for the location, but I've still got a few days left here, so I thought I'd do at least one more episode before I left the area. Today's topic, and you'll have to bear with me, I've got a little sinusy allergy issues going, is really around the topic of change, and then we'll kind of come back to some earlier threads. Is change hard? Is change a hard thing? I don't think it is. I think change is actually really easy. I think people change all the time, every day, naturally. Throughout their entire life, from birth to death, they change. When change becomes difficult, and when you find arguments over it, is when the change that is happening is in some way toxic or fundamentally challenging to the current structure and situation. Now, what would that be? Well, it could be like a new hotel. It could be new housing. It could be new projects or a new company that in some way exploits or denigrates the community through organized crime or simple exploitation, as in labor trafficking. That kind of change is hard. Nobody likes to see that kind of change happen. Conversely, when those kinds of organizations are put to an end, or the hotel, restaurant, company, whatever that's toxic, is closed, that will also be met with a certain amount of frustration and anger because it is a change that changes the general fundamentals of the community in some way or another. And obviously, if there are people who are involved, they're making money off of it through crime, they're really not going to like it. So it can be really hard. So in those cases, change can be really hard. And then the other opposite, of course, is also really hard because people fight really hard with more crime and organized crime and more trafficking and really what's just evil comes in the community. They don't like that either. At the same time, you'll always find bizarre factors. The argument is simply that one group really, really wants to have greed, another really, really doesn't. And those kinds of changes and arguments are actually really hard to see and deal with. They're kind of sad in a way. They really show people who they are, and they show the rest of us who they are. And it can be kind of depressing, I think, to examine for too long. But it's just a question, is change that hard? I don't think most change is that hard. People change all the time. Things change all the time for good reasons and normal reasons, naturally. But there are certain types of change that are actually really difficult. I'm going to refer back to a paper today from the Department of Justice called Criminal Informants Are the Real Winners in the DEA's Drug War. May-June 1996, victims set up and informants make all the money. That was back when the Drug Enforcement Agency was still run by the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They were moved to be managed by DHS. And that change probably only happened about, I have to look it up, but I think it was in the early 2010s. Whatever you think about anything that goes on, because I'm very supportive of law enforcement in every situation. When I look back at the earlier threads, I discussed the man that I sort of confronted all those years ago. He was talking about the extortion scheme. He very happily bragged to me that he was in with the FBI and that he was one of their best informants, and he had this great setup so he could extort projects and free work from people for the entertainment industry. Now, obviously, that's been put an end to. And obviously, with the changes with the Drug Enforcement Administration, because apparently he had ties in with them. Notably, the one woman he actually married, another woman he actually married, also, as far as I know, are both people tied up in the world of drug dealing. That's just what I was told. And if that's not true, then I was told wrong. Oh, well, because that's just life. So, but the point is that there's been a huge amount of investigations, and a lot of people have sacrificed time and energy. And if there's not going to be a bust, then you have to consider that a lot of people will be angry, because that's just the consequences of life. If everybody has their own investigations, everyone has their own life to live, their own path, whatever, great, that's fine. But you can't ask the American people and the American citizenship, people actually from the U.S., American citizens, to put in that much time and effort into something so big and not then take that next step to go forward to that bust. And I know that there's a lot of ways in which the U.S. economy is struggling right now, and people are going through some really hard times. And it is because of what was put in place, I think, some of the errors during the 80s and 90s and the 2000s. But it's important to remember that there is accountability on every level. And when good people make sacrifices, there has to be a follow-through. So I'm just saying that for anyone that's listening, because I know sometimes people get greedy, they get angry, and they want to do things the way they've always done them. Well, that's not life. Life is about change. And a lot of it happens very naturally and very quickly, a lot faster sometimes people realize. And also, there are consequences for everything. There's always an action for every reaction. For every action, there's a reaction. There's always a cause effect throughout life. And nobody has to take it that seriously if they don't want to, but it doesn't change the cause effect. You know, you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to listen to anybody who says that. You have to pay attention to anybody. But that has a consequence. It's just life, right? Science. It's actually basic science. So, on that note, I think this is going to be one of my shortest shows ever. Because this is what I feel like doing, is a much shorter show. But I'm going to sing the song, the famous old song by Elvis Presley, What's Missing, I think, is one of the main refrains of it. But the name of the song is actually Can't Help Falling in Love. So, Elvis Presley's Can't Help Falling in Love. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you. Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you. For I can't help falling in love with you. And that song had nothing to do with anybody or anything in my life. It's just a lovely song I wanted to perform. But, you know, the main point of today's little show was essentially that why change can be hard at times. And I just need to remind people that how much effort and work has been put into some of these projects and some of the investigations that went on, and that it's really not okay to just drop the ball. It's not okay. And it isn't just that I'm saying it's not okay. I'm saying there's actually cause and effect in the world, and you have to continue on with the rest of the work. It just has to be done. So the bust has to be made at some point. And let the rest of us know whenever you decide to actually do that, because the rest of us would really like to see it happen and move on. Thank you very much. Now, with that, I'm going to get on with the rest of my day because I have things to do. Thanks.